Hey everyone, so it looks like it's going to take about a day for all of the glue to dry, so I figured I'd go on to something else that we need to be looking at, which is on our pieces. So this is that sample piece I keep referring to. We're going to want to, once we've set it up, we're going to want to put some form of decoration, maybe around the edges here, maybe again use some green stuff, so that 2-part epoxy resin to create some sort of snake statues or sort of iconography and so on. We don't want to leave it plain. We will put some features. So we spoke before about where this piece here, where we've got sort of broken areas we can make features of. But one of the things that we commonly do is to use, let me just move these bits, and this is the problem. I've only got these 4 bits, so these are various sort of lizard. I mean, there's some other things here, but some various lizard things. So it'd be nice to have these bits, somehow as part of the architecture, like this, for example. Maybe with the stairs in between and so on. Maybe some kind of lizard sculpture here. Start to put some features on it. Now I've only got 3, so what I'm going to do is just very quickly show you a little trick that we can do with these. So take the piece, secure it to something. I'm using this steel rule here, so like so. Oop, try and put it central. So put it on here like this. Now the idea is it won't move. So what I've done, I've got some tin foil, and I don't think it matters, but I use it shiny side up. Yeah, and just pop that over and just press very lightly with your finger to get the rough positioning of it, and then use something like this. You can either use an eraser at the end of a pencil or some kind of pad like this, and then press into the foil to pick up the design of this bit that we have here, and just try and get as much of the design pressed through as you can, making sure the tin foil doesn't move. While you do this, again, try and press around the edges fairly tightly so you get a bit of a lip, because you want to create a button imprint in the tin foil. Just go around it a few times like this. Now these might not come out perfect. If you're fussed about that, then buy the buy the proper bit, as it were. But what we end up with is an imprint like this. Now here comes the trick. Try and make it as flat as you can, as level as you can in there, because then what we're going to do, we're going to melt some wax into there, like this. And what we'll do, we'll just drip some wax in here. Eventually, here we go. You want to just make this slightly above level, because when the wax dries it does tend to sink. Right, so that's the basics of it. Just put that candle to one side. So we need to let that dry. Yeah, it doesn't look too good, that one, but that's okay, because here's one I prepared earlier. Same thing, press the design in, put the wax in. But now what I do, I just gently peel this back to then press out essentially the wax button. Hard to see here. I will paint one up later and show it you very quickly. But there you go. So we've got our wax imprint. Yeah, I thought I had some in there, but no. I'll give this a coat of paint and I'll show you what that looks like. But that's how we can make a whole collection of these buttons that we can then attach and paint later on, all at no cost, which is what we like. Hey folks, so what we've got now is all of the wax cast sort of shield bits painted up. I don't know how well they come up on here, but painted up again with the black base coat ready to go. Now what I've done, I've already attached two of them to this piece here, and I've given it a coating of Codex Grey. So sorry, we've got the black, what is an undercoat now, and then a base coat, a dry brush, kind of wet brush of Codex Grey. So we can start to see how the pieces are being transformed from this sort of shiny, just basic black to a more sort of feature full colour now. This is only one coat of Codex Grey, but I'm going to talk about that more later. What I want to show you at the moment is these pieces, the way that they work just like regular plastic bits. Now if we look on here, you can see we've got these, not sure what you would call them really, these sections attached to the side of the this particular piece. Now this was the other trick I wanted to show you, because what we can do using those pieces is start to frame other features on the on the pieces of that we're making. Now up here I'm going to put some kind of snake or lizard type carving, and essentially we use these then to frame that piece. And here of course we'll have the step, which will go roughly there. So try and keep hold of this. So we end up with that step framed again by these additional pieces. Now, throwing it everywhere. Those pieces are in fact zip ties. So on one side of the zip tie, you've got the the rough steps, and you've got then on the other this flap. So you can cut these out, and this is what I'm going to use. You can cut these out to be used in this way. There is a Games Workshop bits that has these these sort of edge pieces, these tiles, but again I'm just going to use whatever I've got to hand. The other thing I've done as well is I was playing around with just cutting cardboard. So I've got some basic cardboard here from Kleenex box, in fact. There we go. And I've been cutting that up just to have a play with options for making our own strips that could be attached to the pieces. But I think I'm just going to go with these again because it's sort of readily available, right size, just works for me. So that is the idea of the basic embellishments that we can put on by just using various items that we find around. Let's have a look over here, because what I was doing as well was looking around for other pieces that I could use. So here's an interesting one. Maybe I could black this up, put it on top of an altar, top of a piece as a kind of dandy sacrificial altar. I've got some Halloween pieces here too. These are spiders and skulls. So again, painted up black, attached in various places. That could be pretty good. I've got this Irish ring as well, which got two hands either side of the heart and crown. So I thought if I broke the hands off, again maybe I can frame something, attach it to a piece and frame something. I found this, which is an interesting shape, particularly in the middle. Maybe I can copy that and use that in some way. What else have I got on here? I keep this sort of random plastics box here, and I remembered that inside, get it open, I have these pieces. So I thought, I wonder if I can turn these into, maybe, I'm not sure what they're called now. Oh, where they put flame from, can't remember. Oh god, it'll come back to me in a second. But maybe I can put these either side of the altar, and again, maybe do some green stuff, flames coming out of here. So this is the key now. What we need to start doing is just looking around for whatever we can start to embellish our pieces with, in readiness for then the full paint job, because we want to attach all of these before we go into painting. So let's have a look at that, and then we'll come back onto the painting.